Hi everyone. We're going to talk about the blood moon tonight at midnight. Our May 15th blood moon is finally here. And my ferns are popping up in my woods and it's making me so happy. It's gotten so warm here, like instantly warm. It's going to go cooler this week, but it's been like high 80s, like really hot, like unusually hot, so it's not normal for it to be hot. So, but the ferns are all popping out. And I'm back taking you guys to my woods, and look, the leaves just came out on the trees, I swear to God, yesterday or the day before. And the green is just so vibrant. And I want to talk about not only the blood moon tonight, but I also want to talk about the Mars-Neptune conjunction that's happening on May 18th and what that means. Because I can tell you that this is becoming very important to our spiritual path. And, there's a good chance they're going to try to divert it to the polarity. But at the same time, we can access really deep spiritual meaning with these two events happening this week. So I really want to talk about that. And the reason that it's so important with the Neptune Mars conjunction is because it is one of the Hebrew letters that pass on the Kabbalah tree. It's actually this letter. It's Het. Okay, I do have a little trillium that's a red trillium. They're really rare. He's kind of gone past his due, but he's there. And I made this because it represents this conjunction that's happening. And they don't happen often, like every 2 years. So we have an important conjunction. There's my labyrinth. And that's where the sun is right now. It's in Taurus, the labyrinth. So all of this is really relative to what's happening in the sky right now. So I come down here and I walk this, if you can see my path, and this balances your brain to theta. So it balances the left and right side of your brain. So I'm back here walking my labyrinth, not daily, but almost daily. And I'm going to take you into the sugar shack, and we're going to go over some of this stuff and talk about the meaning of it all. And the cool part, now that I'm getting farther along in my Secret Teachings of All Ages in my book, that I'm starting to really understand the importance of these 22 Hebrew letters that all align to the 22 Trump tarot cards, and how, when these paths connect in the sky, we need to pay attention. So this Neptune-Mars conjunction is a path on the tree of life. So let's go talk about it. Just so you get the visual, you'll see that the sun is on the shoulder of Taurus, and Ariadne is in conjunction with the sun, and I'll talk about her role. I've talked about it before. She's the guardian of the bull in the labyrinth. So the bull is the Taurus, right? And she gets freed from her role after Theseus comes and kills the bull after she asks him. Okay, so that's the mythology, the Greek mythology to that. And then you can see the moon, the blood moon here, right at midnight tonight on the middle pole of the scales, which is Libra, justice. The moon isn't on either one of the pans of the scale. It's right in the center. Libra is the only constellation in the zodiac that is an object. And it's also a portal. And I will go into more of the importance of Libra and how this all ties into the doorway out of here, because it's also represented, the actual symbol of Libra is the death symbol. And Ariadne is actually tied to Corona, the Corona crown. Okay, so the blood moon tonight at midnight. So we've talked about this before about how the blood moon is actually in Libra. Now, in tropical, they're saying that it's in Scorpio, which is all to do about the hidden stuff. But the blood moon is when the sun is on one side, the earth is in the center, and the moon's on the other, right? That's a lunar eclipse. So what's interesting is there's a marriage between the divine feminine and God being the sun, and then the moon being the divine feminine. But it's really intense divine feminine because it's the blood moon. And the woman's cycles go with the moon, right? It's a 28-day cycle. So the blood represents the flow of the divine feminine, which is in a way hidden. It's hidden in this realm as well. Like, it's not taught, right? It's like we know it's there, but it's hidden. So it's very much about inner reflection with this blood moon. And it's in Libra, not on Zub and El Janubi stars, the two stars. It's not on the scales. It's on the stick of Libra, which is to do with justice, right? That's the justice card. It's ruled by Libra. It is the balance. You know, you see this even in the Johnny Depp, you know, that when they, you know, pan for a pause, you know, in their trial, they'll go with the symbol of justice, which is kind of weird. It's the Sikh center Tyrannus, with the guy on the neck, right? Of, you know, putting the knee on the neck, which was all to do with George Floyd. And I find that really interesting, because I want to get into that on another video, but there's more stuff with the Johnny Depp trial and how it's just mirroring this realm. And it's a battle going on between, you know, what is divine feminine? Is it a woman that is really, you know, vicious and pretending she's divine feminine, or, you know, who's representing the divine feminine? I believe that Johnny Depp is, because it's justice for Johnny. And we're in the justice moon right now, the blood moon. And he's also carrying the chalice, right? The goblet of the silver goblet, which is the moon, right? Silver is moon. It's represented with the moon. So he's always holding that all the time. So now what's happening with the sun is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, Earth, but Libra is also ruled by Venus, air. Okay, so we have the sun and the moon both in Venus, one for justice, the other more for like divine feminine, connected to Mother Earth, right? This is Taurus. It's the toroidal field. It's the toroidal field around you. It's the toroidal field around the Earth. It's connecting to those energies. Taurus rules the second house, which is love of possessions. And the whole thing with Taurus is that it's really your lateral ventricles in your brain right behind your third eye. Okay, so they always say Taurus rules your throat, but no, it's up here, okay, because that's the horns. That's the horns. That's what Taurus represents, the horns. In the Hebrew letters, Elf is the ox. So again, the horns, which is the Fool card. Okay, so which is also freedom. Okay, so there's justice, and freedom, you know, is really important, right? So it also represents the labyrinth, the Taurus constellation. It's where Ariadne is. She's the corona crown, right? So she's there, and she asks Thetis to go in to kill the bull, you know, and the bull has a red eye, right? You know, the bull's eye is the red eye. So it, you know, see, it's all working together. And then he kills the bull, and then he kind of deserts her and puts her on an island, and she ends up marrying Dionysus, who is also representing freedom. So it's all, love is how you get free from this realm, basically. So we have justice, love, and then we have love for the divine feminine. And I do think it's kind of like a marriage going on. So it's not about going out and making, you know, a big thing about everything. Right now we want to just kind of go inward and reflect on this blood moon and kind of create, it's like a thinking inward and feeling inward, and then creating the intention that you want as we move forward. Now, what's interesting is that this is all to do with planting, because right now I'm doing my gardening and I'm getting all my gardens ready, because we don't plant here usually until the 24th of May, but I'm sure other people have planted earlier. But I just found out, I was like looking into the whole thing about planting on a new moon. A dark moon is when you're supposed to plant, when the seed is inside the earth, right, in the darkness, or planting on a new moon or a blood moon. I was like, what happens if you plant on a blood moon? Now, when I started looking into this, the best signs to plant in when the moon is in a constellation is the water signs and earth sign of Taurus. So there's a way of remembering this. It's called signs plant thick crops. Okay, the ones that plant the thickest crops, the best crops, are Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, all water signs, which that's what the moon represents, right? Water and memory. But that means like you're asking the moon to bring the water to your plants, so your plants can become thick crops, right? So, or Taurus. So it's really earth based. Right? It's very much about Mother Earth, Taurus, and that's what the Pleiades are. And it's very the Seven Sisters. And we also have the Ein Sof there, the star. We have Aldebaran, the bullseye. We have the horns. Trump was born on the Crab Nebula. So there's a Crab Nebula in Taurus's Silver Gate. Again, silver. The Crab is the only constellation that is ruled by the moon. Cancer. Okay, the manger of Christ, the gateway of man, representing the summer solstice, the crab, right? In tropical. So it's all to do with the moon. So all I'm saying is, if you're planting right now, you want to wait till after tonight, tomorrow morning. The moon will be in Scorpio, sidereal Scorpio, which is, connecting to the sky and the earth. And that would be a great time to plant, to have your plants grow really well. Okay. And so I just found that really fascinating. So it's not always just plant on a dark moon. You want to plant, you can plant on a full moon for fruits and vegetables that are above the ground with their crop. Vegetables that are below the ground, like potatoes and onions and stuff, you would prefer to plant on a dark moon, a new moon. So there's all these cycles. So that's really fascinating. But what I really want to mention, excuse me, is the Neptune Mars conjunction. Now, when you go on the Kabbalah tree, they often have Saturn ruling the Banah, okay? And I don't believe that that's the case, okay? Because they always mix up the four. Sometimes they have Pluto at the top, and sometimes they have, Saturn and Neptune switched. And, we know Pluto is the dot, right? So that, and Uranus is at the top. But I really do believe that Neptune, because it represents the ocean, the Banah, okay? It represents water. So we also esoterically, Neptune and the moon have a relationship. So I'm really convinced that Banah is ruled by Neptune. Okay, so that's the third Sephiroth. Now the fifth Sephiroth, the Geburah, is ruled by Mars. So the Neptune Mars conjunction is activating the path of 3 to 5. Okay, so 3 to 5 in the tarot cards is the Chariot. It's your vehicle. Okay, it's the vehicle. It's your field that gets you out of this realm, that you can activate your field, which is your body, which is what we're here to learn. We're here to learn our true essence of the power of our body. Okay, we're not just, mortal souls that die and come back. We actually have an opportunity to use our vessel to to upgrade our consciousness. Okay, it's through the body. So it's important to look after your body because of this. Now, I just want to read this because I had written down what the meaning of. So the Banah with the Lord's Prayer is, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done." That's the sentence that goes with the Banah, which is, like I said, Neptune. It's the great sea. That's why I'm convinced it's ruled by Neptune. There's also a twofold key in astrology that decodes all this. And this is how I figured it out. Okay. It's the influential path, understanding causality. So what ends up happening is you have an understanding, like everything has a cause, right? So it's also the will and the power is in the Gebrua, which is the Mars. So Mars is your warrior, it's your will and your power. So it's like your will and your power now is coming into Christ consciousness, which is Neptune. It's the shaman. Okay. And this is why the Chariot card is the card telling you how to activate your vehicle. Yes, you want to be the fool and walk in like kind of just everybody's calling you the fool and you want to play the fool card. But the fool card represents air. It's one of the elements. And so it's important in the tree of life. It is an element. But through the zodiac, you want to go with Cancer. Okay, the moon. It's the moon card. It's the manger of Christ. So we've got Neptune there. It's the manger of Christ. It's connecting to the warrior within you, your will and your power. Okay, so that's what's happening on the 18th. So the Geb is discovering the mysteries of power and use of the Mars energies, purposeful change, awakening the inner and outer strength. So this is what we're asking for. So this blood moon is kind of, it's like a precursor to what's happening on Wednesday. So you need to think about these things because we have this conjunction happening on Wednesday. So this is what you want to meditate on, okay, for this blood moon, especially tonight at midnight. The Banah is discovering mysteries and of silence and secrecies, increasing understanding. All things are connected. So that's what we should be like really focusing on with this blood moon, I believe, is kind of going within the secrets of this realm and trying to understand, what our purpose is here. So that is what's going on, guys. And I wanted to just go over this. Yeah, quiet, calm inner work. It's Venus, love, right? Peace, balance, Libra. This is where this blood moon is. So it's not in Scorpio, that's in tropical, but so we can work with the growing with the moon's cycles, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when I have the screenshots where I can show it to you all, and you guys can take that for your planting. Now the het, which I showed you, the symbol, it's like a doorway. Okay, so that's the Hebrew letter that goes with the Chariot card. Okay, it's a doorway out of here. Now, that's also the pi symbol. Okay, so pi and phi, extremely important in this realm. We know phi, it connects to the balancing of the brain. Dan Winters explains this. And also that it is the neg entropy, which is like constantly growing outward. And you have to have only shareable thoughts that can get you into that frequency. Okay, so this is really important. And so we know that phi is really important. We know, we know that pi is important. That's Einstein's birthday, and it's when they executed John Byng, the Navy officer, the only Navy officer ever executed. This all ties into Washington, D.C. I just found this all out, and I was just like blown away. I had a lot of information coming to me last week or two. And so pi and phi are connected to Washington, D.C., how they've mapped it all out there. And now I realize that the pi symbol could be the het, which is the Chariot card. Okay, it's not just the pi of what's the card down here? Oh yeah, the Tower card. It's not just the Tower card, even though that is pi. Okay, and that looks like a symbol of pi as well, but it's very similar to the het. Okay, which is your vehicle, your field around you. This is what het is. So there's a connection between the Chariot card and the Tower card, okay, because of the way the symbols look, okay, in the letters, the Hebrew letters. So, But what I'm saying is, I still believe the blood moon on Pi Day in 2025 is the like magical moon, okay? That I'm kind of looking forward and backwards in time to see if there's another blood moon on Pi Day. Can't find it. I've gone through all NASA's blood moons. Never happened. Never happened what they've recorded. And then I've looked, for the future. No, can't find any in the future. And, the only thing I could do would be to go on Stellarium and start like going to every hour on Pi Day, because sometimes NASA's blood moons way back aren't accurate either. They're not aligning to Stellarium and what's happened in the sky. So I'm just kind of like, I could, spend the time to do that and see if there was another event on a Pi Day blood moon that was really, important in history, but I haven't found it. So this is like, this is going to be this really rare blood moon. So I think it's all kind of working up towards this 2025 blood moon. This is really a beginning. This moon is the beginning because it's to do with love and justice, and, to do with Taurus, which is really important. It's the labyrinth, which we're all stuck in, right? We're trying to get out of it. So it's the beginning of this kind of setting our intention that we want justice and freedom and, going within and understanding everything's connected and everything has unity in it. And this is what these paths mean. So I think that's all I'm going to talk about today for this blood moon. I'm going to do a ritual and burn my mask, because yesterday was the first day with no mask. It's so weird that in Quebec, when they created the mandate for the mask wearing, it was exactly 666 days, which just blows my mind. And they ended it on a Friday the 13th with a blood moon the next day. Okay, so this was a total ritual, right? It's like, we've been with a mask mandate for 666 days. It's like I'm exhausted from it. Like, you just don't want to see people with this thing on anymore. It's like covering up the throat chakra. I see it as like a really robotic kind of symbol, covering up your ability to speak your truth. And it's all fear-based of worrying about dying, right? So I'm just like, I just so sick and tired of seeing it. So it's finished for now, unless they pull it back in. But I don't want them to pull it back in. So I'm going to do a burning at midnight of this mask to kind of set that intention that we don't have to wear them ever again. So that's about it. And so I will do a video all on Washington, D.C. and the importance of Pi and Phi, and how that is all connected to Pi Day. It is connected to Pi Day. Okay, so John Byng was murdered on Pi Day. Einstein's birthday is Pi Day. The special blood moon is on Pi Day. And the whole thing with Pi and Phi, there's a relationship between it. Okay, so, I was always thinking, is Pi like, you're stuck here all the time? But I don't believe that now. I believe that it's kind of like the doorway out. Okay, and now somebody messaged me a long time ago about Phi being AI. It's like, it is the math that creates this simulation. And, that doesn't surprise me either, so I'm kind of like, okay, so if we're in a simulation and everything is created by numbers, like Pythagoras said, number rules the universe. So it has to become mathematical. It's not just interpreting scripture and just kind of saying, well, this is when it's going to happen, or this is when this is going to happen. It has to be mathematical and aligning to past events in history and the numbers, right? It has to be like that. Everything's about the numbers. Just look at this mask mandates, it's 666. It's always about the numbers. So it's just understanding now how these numbers represent the paths on the tree of life because of the Hebrew letters. The Hebrew letters are the foundation of everything. It's the foundation of building this realm. Okay, it's all done through the Hebrew letters, the 22 Hebrew letters. And that's why the 22 tarot cards are so important, because they all align to them, right? So it's not like, you can't say like, oh, the Bible, you know, is written in Hebrew, the Hebrew letters are the foundation, and then saying, oh, the tarot cards are evil because the tarot cards represent those letters. So I'm just like, okay, it's like, it's all one. There is no separation of good and bad. It's everything is all one. It's just a matter of you seeing it and then creating your reality by your vibration being at a certain level of trust in the universe, and trust that you are at a frequency and you're safe. And I do believe everybody, you know, that gets to this higher frequency has some protection. You have this field around you, this field of this Neptune Mars path. Okay, so it's path 3 to 5. So yeah, so that's what it's all about. So just keep, you know, doing inner reflection, and then we start to work towards what we want to create afterwards. It's not like, it's kind of just going in and being peaceful right now. We just want peace, balance, peace, and not getting worked up about anything they're projecting. We just want to create this kind of serene aspect of it, and then working on your protective field around you all this week is your intention. Okay, so enjoy the blood moon. It's a wonderful time to just sit outside at midnight and see if you can see it. Hopefully the skies will be clear. I've got some cloud cover, so I hope you guys, I wish you guys all clear skies tonight. Take care. Peace and love to you. Bye. So the other thing that I wanted to mention was that Chiron is in conjunction with Venus today as well. So this is all about healing. And so it's a really huge, you know, we got the moon in Venus, the sun in Venus, Chiron, the healer, is in Venus in the spiritual constellation of Pisces on the right-hand fish, which is really the spiritual, not necessarily the institutional religion, which is the left-hand fish. So it's really about healing with love. And the representation of Chiron in Venus is healing through Mother Earth. Okay, so all, like, you could be healing with herbs or anything to do with like alternative healing through nature. So that's interesting that that's happening too. So this is another reason why you want to do like inner reflection on this blood moon. And here's the Mars-Jupiter conjunction. You can see in the previous slide where Mars was on the tail of the whale. I couldn't pull up Chiron and Neptune at the same time, but this is right on the tail of the whale, right beside the pentagon. This is the circlet of Pisces, this pentagon shape here, which is really esoteric to do with Christ. Okay, so Neptune is Christ in this location of the sky with the warrior Mars, which is also ruling Aries, right? So it's your crown. You could say your crown, Jesus's crown, is with you right now. This is a very, very spiritual week. Signs to plant thick crops by are, they use the first letter of each word. So Scorpio, Pisces, Taurus, and Cancer. 3 water signs, and of course Taurus, which is all to do with Mother Earth, is the earth sign. And the 2 signs that you do not want to plant by is when the moon is in Aries or in Leo. These are both fire signs. So just, I guess your plant just perishes from the heat. Okay, so that's why you want to plant mostly in water signs or Taurus. So check it out, guys. Bliss to you all. Take care. Enjoy this week.